Gran Turismo 7 is very nearly here, and with today's big state of play stream, a private preview session that we were party to, and a Q&A with Kazunori Yamauchi-san himself, I am really looking forward to it. This is the latest evolution of Gran Turismo with big returning features, a bunch of new ideas, and just a huge amount of sim racing and driving to look forward to. Here's some of the big new features and key takeaways from what we've seen. If you want to have this standard GT mode single player, then GT7 is going to politely direct you over to the Café. This is a new activity hub to try and guide you through different races and content that is available in the game, seeking to immerse you in automotive culture and history as you do so. When you visit the Café, you will be regaled with tales of how cars were designed by their very creators, such as Tom Matano talking about Mazda's iconic roadsters. You'll also get the menu book quests, and these are what will take you through other parts of the game, tasking you with heading out and collecting various different car types to get rewards in return. These can include unlocking circuits, which then act as mini hubs for races and other activities that are hosted at these specific locations. The core racing will still be there to please GT fans, but the way that it is wrapped up for single player is rather different. Dynamic weather is making a return to Gran Turismo, and it's the most detailed version of this yet. There's day and night cycles where the starry skies are now mapped to match the actual night skies in those places, right down to featuring the planets themselves. And when it rains, the track will get wet and then dry in a way that makes sense for the racing line to evolve. This weather simulation also includes the typical track atmospheric conditions, the track temperature and grip, all of which feeds into the enhanced simulation of the cars, and there's varying slipstream effects based off CFD modelling. All of this sounds fantastic, a real step forward for the simulation of the game, but there is a downside, and that is one that is familiar for Gran Turismo fans. This is not universal across the game. All of the tracks can do time transitions from morning through to night, but only some of them have the full 24-hour cycle. Similarly, all tracks have got sunny to cloudy conditions, but only some will do rain. We don't have a definitive list yet, but Circuit de la Sarthe, Nürburgring, Daytona, Red Bull Ring, those are 4 that have been confirmed to have these changing weather conditions affecting the racing. Full-on car upgrades and tuning are a big returning feature for Gran Turismo 7, letting you acquire and then apply all manner of different car parts, and the various settings to tune the setup once you've done so. Oh, and there's wide body mods for those that really want them as well. Where this gets more interesting than in previous games is that the car performance points should now be much more accurate. This is thanks to a big change in how they're calculated. Instead of taking a simple formula of weight, power and tyre compound grip, GT7 will take any of the changes that you make and run background simulations to validate them. You'll have to press the measure button to see the effect of changes that you make, and Kaz describes this as a kind of minigame that he really quite enjoys. All of this should mean that PPE limits in both offline and online races are going to be much more balanced, and cars should be a much better match to their real-world lap time potential as well. Have you ever seen, or maybe been, a boy racer blasting music out while cruising down the town's high street? Well, Gran Turismo 7 is going to capture some of that vibe with Music Rally. This is essentially a remix of classic arcade racing against a ticking clock, but instead of seconds, you have beats that tick down with the BPM of whatever music is playing. Your goal is to hit checkpoints to earn more beats and be able to keep on driving until the music ends. But the emphasis here is on enjoying the music and driving at the same time. Yamauchi-san said that advanced players could even have time to drift through corners or pull donuts and still reach the finish, so perhaps this is going to be less of a high pressure situation game mode. Alongside that, you now have music replay. This takes the classic replay mode and puts it to music, dynamically switching camera angles in time to the beat. This was inspired by jam sessions in the studio's music room. Speaking of sounds, GT7 makes use of third-order ambisonics for its audio capture and processing. On PS5, there's positional audio processed in full 3D, equivalent to having a 16-channel surround sound setup, and all of the audio is processed with material distortion in mind, so hard concrete barriers will affect the audio differently to softer tyre walls, for example. Audio was one of the big steps forward in GT Sport, and is going to be just as big a step forward for GT7. Gran Turismo 7 on PlayStation 5 has got 2 graphics modes, but the choice seems to be largely out of your hands. Yes, there's ray tracing, but you will only see this advanced graphical technique be used where frame rate and responsiveness doesn't matter. That means that you'll see ray tracing in the garage, in escapes and race photo modes, as well as in replays. When you're actually racing though, you won't have ray tracing, but the game on PS5 still looks pretty damn good. We cannot wait to get our hands on the game on PS5 with the DualSense controller. The haptics work below the sound level, up to 200Hz they say, aiming to amplify the effect that you get from the sound and the visuals. This will give different surfaces texture, you'll have drivetrain vibrations and more. Meanwhile, the adaptive triggers will change the feel of the brakes between different cars, and you'll have the tension dynamically changing as you feel when tyres are starting to lock under braking or slip as you're on the edge of grip. Still, I'm sure that die-hard racers will stick with their racing wheels. As many new and improved ideas and features as Gran Turismo 7 is bringing, there's also plenty that will stay, pretty much the same. Cars will be acquired through Brand Central, you've got the used car dealership for older cars, but they're joined by the new legendary car dealership, which is just where you get the more expensive, rare cars. Escapes is going to build off the feature from GT Sport, there's license tests which are returning, you've got car washing and oil tests making a return as well. Oh, and you'll need to be online for your single player progress to save, because cheating, fine, whatever. That's all that we've got for this video. Gran Turismo 7 is coming out for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 on the 4th of March 2022. If you want to know more, then head over to the6axis.com for our written preview on all of these new GT7 details, but before you go, make sure to like, subscribe, do the usual YouTube things, and hopefully we will see you again soon. Goodbye!